Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new on this channel, you're welcome. I am A.H.P. Poacher. I'm an author and I also do business. Now today's video is for that part of my channel where we talk about real life issues, okay? Real life issues. Let me put these away. I just did a Bible study for Jubilee Prayer Center, a ministry that I steward. Okay, so let me put that aside. So today's video is for that part of my channel, like I said, where we talk about real life issues. And although I believe, I got this word, and I believe that it will help quite a few of us. Okay, now I'm gonna pause just a few seconds because I need to go and check on some food that I put on fire, and I'll be back and we'll continue this conversation. Okay, right, I'm multitasking. So a word that I heard, I thought it was just for a friend of mine, so I shared it with her. Okay, because we were talking, and as we were talking, the Spirit of God, I just heard the Spirit of God say, do not depend on government. So that was just a word for her. So I shared it with her. Okay, and I said to her, I hear God saying, don't depend on government. Now, based on the position that she's in, I knew what it meant. Because although she works, her income is topped up by Universal Credit. Okay, so that is how she's able to stay afloat. Alright, but God didn't just want her to depend on that. Okay, and so I left it at that, and I was like, you know exactly what it, you know exactly what it means, because we're working out. I can't go into too much detail, but we're working on some things, and to help her stay afloat and everything like that, in case of a worst case scenario where she maybe ends up leaving her job, or she ends up being put in a situation where she would have no choice but to leave her job. So we're working on that, right? So she knew exactly what it meant. So went into details more as to why that would be happening, like how she should prepare and all of that, which I won't be sharing here. Okay. And then a few days passed, and I was going into a meeting, because even myself, although I have my business, and I do have my investments, I also get Universal Credit to stay afloat, okay, every month. And also because I have a child, or children should I say, but my daughter currently lives with her dad, so I don't get the child benefit that belongs to her. It goes to him, okay. But I get my son's child benefit paid to my account, which helps basically look after him financially, okay. So I was on my way to my meeting, my fortnightly meeting, and as I was making my way to my meeting, I hear the Holy Spirit again says, do not depend on government. And this is when I knew that was for me, right? But the reason why I'm sharing it here is because a lot of people are in the situation that I'm in and that my friend is in. Okay? As in, although you may have your business, you're operating your business, you're doing all of that, you still claim some sort of benefit, whether it's universal credit or other benefits like disability and all of that, right? Or you work, but you still claim, you know, universal credit or any other benefit like that, right? And also your children have child benefit. Now, the reason why I believe that God would say don't depend on government is because they will fail you. The world as we know it, like the world as we know it is no longer as we knew it pre-COVID times, right? It's changed, and it's changing even more as the days go by. Like, prices are no longer the same. There's inflation everywhere. Some countries are no longer just in inflation but hyperinflation. Policies have been changed. So many policies have been changed, right? Including the what's it called? The social security policies. Okay, and for those of you who are in countries where you have social security, you would understand exactly what I mean, how that impacts you, and that is what I'm bringing to you. And a lot of people, not just people who are on social security, but even people who are not on social security, or they live in countries where there is no social security, they still to some extent depend on their government. And how do you know that they depend on their government? Because whenever there is lack of employment, they always go and they'll be doing protests that government should do something, government should do something, this government should change, that government should change, because we don't have jobs because of this government, we don't have job because of that government, we don't have the things that we need because of this government. And I don't mean to burst your bubble, but government will fail you. And I don't like to talk badly about government, and I will not talk badly about any government because they're in the place of authority, right? And I pray for government. I pray for God to give us the best government that He can choose for us. And because when there is good government in authority, we live a peaceable life, right? A peaceful life, not a peaceable life, but a peaceful life, right? But when we have a wicked government, we groan. There's so much groaning, right? So I understand the place that that praying for government plays in the realm of things, right? However, we shouldn't depend on them for our livelihood. We should depend on God. We should ask God to give us strategies, okay? To give us strategies to know what to do so that we can be thriving in the midst of everything that is happening in the world, in the earth, should I say. Everything that is happening, from inflation to security to safety and all of that, right, to housing and all of that. We should ask God Because believe it or not, just because there's inflation and hyperinflation in places, it doesn't mean that everyone is struggling. Okay, it doesn't mean that everyone is struggling, right? Because God provides for his people. God gives you solutions, you know. And even though for me personally, I'm on universal credit, I'm not I'm not struggling as I would have been if I didn't know God, if I didn't have a relationship with God. And even if I know God and I was depending on government and like just focusing on what they're saying and all of that and waiting for them to sort out things for me, I would be struggling like everybody who is struggling, right? But because I asked God to help me to put certain things in place, like what I need to be doing for myself and for my children alike, what's it called? I'm more at peace. Like I don't care what policies that like they're doing. You know what I mean? Like I pray that they don't make crazy policies, and I pray against some of the policies that they've already put in place that it wouldn't affect us. But even if they do, right? Like it wouldn't impact me so much as it would impact another person who doesn't believe in God and who's not asking God for ways to survive and to thrive wherever they are in the world. Okay, and although I'm in the UK right now, I'm not just talking about the UK, but because this issue is globally. Okay, so it's a global issue. Now you'd understand why God would say don't depend on government also, because you can see some of the things they keep changing the goalpost for many things. For example, on universal credit now, if you have children who are above the age of 5, they expect you to be working, and they expect you to be, if you're not yet working, they expect you to be working for they expect you to be looking for a job for 30 hours. 30 hours per week. You should be spending that time looking for work. That is ridiculous, because we know that as parents, you have the work that you need to have should be around your family, around your children. So your children's it should be around your children's school timetable. Okay, so you're able to pick them up, you're able to drop them to school, you're able to spend time with them and all of that, right? That is impacted if you go to work and if you find a job. Even for those with younger children, that means you have to be able to put them in nursery, pick them up from nursery. Now they'll say, oh yeah, we'll pay for your childcare for after school club and all of that, right? But most employers, they don't really want to be hiring parents like that, like, because they know it'll be impacted. Like anytime their child is sick or anytime their child has school activities where you have to attend, you have to go. So they're changing the policies, right? All of that, right? But not only are they changing that, okay, expecting you to look for work or more work, right? Even the people who work part-time, they're telling them to look for more work. So even if you work part-time and you're supplemented, you still have to, you're still told that you still have to be looking for extra work to fill up that gap, because they don't want to basically they don't basically want people on social benefits. Okay, if they had their way, they no longer want that to be working, but they can't. To they don't. They no longer want that to be the system. Um, if they had their way, and they might just end up cutting off a lot of things altogether, right? And like you be put on a basic basic amount to live on. But not only that, now they have what's it called? They have also changed the retirement age. They've increased it, so now you're having to, where people used to retire at 60 something, right? Now they've put the bar higher to 70. Like, why am I still getting up, going to work at the age of 70, please? Like, no. Like, of course I'd work, because I know the wealthy, that's what they do. Of course I'll work, but I don't want to be doing a 9 to 5 at 70. My work should be different at 70. Okay? My work should be different. It shouldn't be for survival. It should be, to keep myself going, to keep myself like socializing with other people. Of course, be rewarded for it and everything and whatnot, but it shouldn't be because I must. Okay? But in this, the way things are going, it's like it's a must. And because of that, those who go to retirement, they've now also changed the the pension scheme, how it works. Basically, you have pension credit, so it depends on the number of years that you have worked in order for you to get that pension credit. Like, some people only get as low as £350 a month, and they have to pay all their bills. So your electric bill, part of your council tax, part of your your water bill, your gas, your food, medication, if you certain medications, right? Certain things you have to pay for them, including food, and it's not enough because everything is going up. Everything is increasing. So you see why God would say don't depend on government, because they are about to mess you up if you depend on them. So what should you be doing? You should be increasing your income. Even if you're working. I told my friend, don't leave your job until you absolutely have to. Okay? Don't leave your job unless you absolutely have to. However, while you're working, take a percentage of your money that you're making every month, your active income, and invest it in something else. Invest in a business. Invest it in a portfolio, passive income, because that's what I did. I take a percentage of like the money that I get every month, and I put it towards the stock market portfolio, right? Apart from that, I also take that income, that active income, and I put it towards my business, okay? My business, my online business, okay? And apart from my online business and my stock market portfolio, I also take a certain percentage of my income every month, and I put it towards buying precious metals, okay? Precious metal, which I can sell and make money from that. Apart from that, I also opened a stock ISA account where I get returns on it, right? And I put a certain amount there. But my sons, I invest for my children as well. And then for my son, I take part of his child benefit and I invest it for him. So that if, or should I say when they stop child benefit, okay, because the more children you have, it stops at I think 2 or 3 children maximum. Everybody else doesn't get any child benefit, so you are screwed. If you're planning to have more children, you're screwed, okay, financially. If you're going to be depending on government for that, you are screwed. Okay, so you have to think outside the box. So I invest even for my daughter, even though she doesn't live with me. I don't care about what her dad is doing, like in terms of if whether he's putting things away for her or he's not. I'm not responsible for his responsibilities, right? I'm responsible for my responsibility toward her as a parent. So I invest for her. So she's like good, like in case anything happens, she's good. She's good. She's as good as my son. Her brother, she's good, right? Sarah Corwood. Okay. She's good. She's good. Like she's good. And of course, as you know, so I say do the same thing. I say do the same thing for your children. Like invest for your children as well. Those who have children who are becoming of age to work, let them find something to do, like part-time work while they're in college or something. Even if they don't do part-time work, if they can't find part-time work, open up a business for them that they can do on a part-time basis, you know. That is something that you can do, invest and use their child benefit to as what's it called, as capital to invest into their business idea, you know. And that's what I'm going to be saying to you. But don't depend on government to be the one to bail you out, because government doesn't have jobs. By the way, those of you who are always saying, oh, government, we don't have jobs, government doesn't have jobs. Governments don't create jobs. It's entrepreneurs. It's the business people, men and women that some of you hate. Yeah, because you think that we take your money. You think that we're wealthy because we're greedy or whatever you think of us. We're the ones who create jobs, not the government. The government takes the job that we create and gives it to you, the workers. Government doesn't have jobs to give you. Okay? Government. So don't even depend on government to increase jobs for you, because they don't have jobs. If entrepreneurs don't create jobs, they don't have jobs to give you. Okay? They don't have jobs. Same way with also be putting away emergency fund, so that in case anything happens with like housing, you're able to get private housing. Because although my house, like my flat is with housing association, like if the push comes to shove where they're like too much rent, too much, like I should have some money set aside, something set aside for renting privately, rent that I can afford. It's like that. Or to move from one place to another, from one country to another, like, you know, um, set up yourself in that position where you have emergency fund, that even your children have emergency fund. Like, I'm teaching my son at the moment to um to save, and he's got his target of what he wants to save, but I upped that target by a certain percentage. So then, so once he hits his target, I'll let him continue to save until I hit the target, until he hits the target that I have for him. Okay? And once he hits that target, it's enough for basically him to put it, for him to have a deposit for his property. Okay? And we'll put it into an asset. As simple as that. Now, I've started also like saving my emergency fund, right? Where I'll just keep putting money away, that in case of emergency I have cash, liquid cash. Okay, so don't depend on your government. Don't depend on your government. Put things in place so that when they change policies, yeah, when they change things up, yeah, you would be okay because you're not depending on them. You're independent of your government. That is what God wants us to be, like, to get into that realm of being independent of our government, so that no matter what they do, no matter what they say, you're not at their mercy. Because those who depend on their government, yeah, your freedom will be taken away from you. Your freedom will be taken away from you. They'll have you moving from pillar to post. Pillar to post. Yeah? And because you feel like, because you'd have no choice, because you haven't put anything that gives you a choice or gives your children a choice, you'll just be doing everything they're asking you to do, which sometimes is contrary to your own safety, the safety of your children, is contrary to the will of God for you, the will of God for your children. It's contrary. Like right now, what's it called? I'm even putting away resources like books, study books and all of that, so that in case schools mess up, like schools deteriorate and all of that, I have homeschool option for my children. But if you don't have the resources, guess what? They'll tell you to put your children in school, and you have no because you don't have the resources, and you have no choice. And you have no choice because you feel like you don't have a choice. So you have to put all of those into consideration and put all of those things in order. Become independent of your government. Don't depend on your government. Become independent of your government. No matter where you are in the world, become independent, financially independent, educationally for your children, independent, food wise, independent. Don't be thinking food banks, because food banks, what if they don't have enough food for food banks, or they don't have the choice foods that you want in food banks? What if they don't have the resources, all the other resources that you need for your children in food banks? They're not gonna have, they're not, they don't always have all the resources that you need, like cooking oil and all of these things. They don't have most of those in food banks. They only have a few things that people donate, whatever they feel like donating. And what happens when most people decide that they don't want to donate? Like, where are you going to get food from? When it's pouring out there. Like, where are you going to get food from? You understand? As simple as that. Where are you going to get it from? If they don't have funding for electricity and gas, where are you going to get money for all of that from? You have to think of that. That's why for me, I put solar in place. God told me to buy solar, and I've been telling my circle of friends, buy solar, and they look at me like I'm crazy. They even laugh, some of them. They look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, you don't understand. You don't understand what we're about to get into. You don't understand. You don't understand. So I had to buy 2 solars. Now I have to get a third one that runs our entire home. Our entire home. As in our fridge, our freezer, our TV, though we don't watch TV, but we can charge our tablet. If we wanted to watch TV, we could. If we wanted to watch movies, we could. Listen to a radio. If I wanted to listen to radio, we could. Charge up our tablets, our phones, our laptops. Still be able to do business from home. We could. Listen. Don't depend on government. Don't depend on government. Your transportation, like, how are you going to cope if they're forever increasing the price of buses? Right now, the what's it called, the price for the bus is equivalent of a taxi. That's why I hardly catch buses. I hardly catch buses anymore. I just catch taxi, or I walk to some of the places that I need to go to. I either walk or catch taxi. Rarely do I catch buses. I only catch buses because my son likes to catch bus sometimes. But otherwise, you wouldn't see me on the bus. Unless the taxi is running late and the bus is quicker. That's another reason why I'll catch a bus. But if there's a taxi, give me taxi. Give me taxi. It's the same price. It's the same price. Understand? So you need to have those things in place, like transportation. You have to think transport wise. Your train tickets, your bus tickets. Are you going to be able to afford to travel? Are your children going to be able to afford to travel to and from school or college and university? Are they going to have issues traveling? All their livelihoods. Don't just be squandering your children's finances. Your children that are of age, like, are you going to be able to afford to give them pocket money? If they cut off child benefit, are you going to be able to give them pocket money? you should factor in their pocket money, their weekly pocket money. Are you going to be able to, or you're going to turn around and say, oh, you can't have pocket money now because I don't have it. Because right now on child benefit, you still have the option of getting it weekly or monthly. But what if you don't have that? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Factor all that in so you're not depending on them. You're not depending on them. But that is it, guys. That is what I'll say. Put your finances in order. Put things in place for your children in order, including your health. Yes, last thing. A lot of you depend, a lot of us, we depend on NHS, we depend on government for treatment, for medical treatment. But they're privatizing most of these hospitals, most of these clinics. They are privatizing them. They're making them go private. So if you don't have finances to treat yourself, to treat your family, when you have a medical issue, you won't be able to afford it. And if you're saying that you're going to wait for the government funded treatment, you wait for 6, 7 months, 12 months, a year. That thing is getting worse and worse before you access treatment. Whereas if you have private healthcare that you pay for on a monthly basis, guess what? When you need it, you have that option to go and get treatment as soon as possible. As soon as possible. Your children have the option to go and get treatment as soon as possible, not having to wait for 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks, a year. You see, or 3 months, or 6 months. You're on the waiting list. So you have to factor all that in. Your health insurance. You have to factor that in. But that's it, guys. So make sure you have your finances in order, your children's finances in order, your children's education and entertainment, family and all of that in order. You have your health insurance in order. You even have your life insurance in order, so that your children are all covered. Your work, your ability to work in order. Like if you stop working today, if the company says, no, we no longer need you, are you going to be panicking, or are you going to say, okay, fair enough, I just make my side hustle, my main hustle, like, you make a little business, you turn your little business into a big business, so you have that option. Your children, they have option of running their own business. So yeah, get those things in order. But that's it, guys. I shall see you all in the next video. Bye.